In an attempt to show progress towards passage of two major spending bills, Speaker Nancy Pelosi invited Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen to her Thursday press conference in a sign of solidarity.
The White House, the House, and the Senate have reached agreement on a framework that will pay for any final negotiated agreement. So the revenue side of this, we have an agreement on. Okay? Thank you. It's a framework, an agreement of a framework. Okay? Thanks.
Pressed on what framework means, Pelosi was vague.
Can you expand on what that means, a framework? What does that mean exactly?
That means we're proceeding, that we've made great progress and we're proceeding.
Her comments masked the real divisions in the Democratic Party amid the president's run of bad policy consequences, from tumbling poll numbers, COVID's resurgence, the border crisis, the Afghanistan withdrawal, runaway inflation, and labor and material shortages, all of which threaten moderate Democrats in the midterms. As a result, the president, Pelosi, and Schumer are negotiating from weakened positions with members of their own party over the Build Back Better bill, a title Republicans take issue with as the economy was already building back without huge taxpayer funding. One key holdout on the bill, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, revealed Wednesday that President Biden told him and fellow moderate holdout Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona that the president was, quote, very straightforward in what he asked us to do. Find a number you're comfortable with based on what you believe the needs that we still have and how we deliver to the American people. Biden is facing resistance on the progressive side, too. Following Wednesday's White House meeting between the president and the so-called squad and other members, there was no press gaggle afterwards, a tell that there was no consensus on how to move forward. Progressive Democrat Ilhan Omar of Minnesota complaining that progressives are, quote, being held hostage by conservative Democrats. Republicans smell blood in the water. Once in favor of the $1.5 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill that would fund roads, bridges, and rural broadband, they are now resisting that, knowing that without their votes, the bill may fail because progressives will vote no on it too, unless it accompanies a vote on their priority, the Build Back Better bill with its price tag of $3.5 to $5 trillion.
Are you encouraging your members or whipping your members against the bipartisan infrastructure bill on Monday?
You know, I don't view it as a bipartisan bill any longer, where the Democrats have now made it one over $5 trillion bill, one without the other. It only harmed the nation even more. I'm voting no.
Amidst that, the Republican leadership is also recommending a no vote on increasing the debt ceiling, which runs out September 30th, the end of the fiscal year.
But if most of this debt, 98% of it, predates President Biden's inauguration, why don't Republicans have the responsibility to help raise the debt limit?
That's a great question, but your question is not correct. Let me educate you on one point. The last debt ceiling we raised was on a date certain, not a dollar amount. So the date certain, every amount of money spent in the Trump administration was accounted for, and also went into the 7 months of the current Biden administration. The reason why have a challenge of raising the debt now is because the Democrats want to spend another $5 trillion.
It is just too early at this point to tell how this all plays out, with a vote set for early next week on the first bill, the smaller $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill. Basically, the money figures will be worked out over the weekend, concessions will be made, and agreements will be reached. But this is a new era. Margins are slim, factions are entrenched, and anger is deep. And predictions are for the foolhardy. Doug McKelway for the Washington Examiner.